Why is it that the closer someone walks with God, the further away they seem to be from the world? Have you noticed that some of the men and women most used by God went through the darkest moments of the soul? This is not coincidence. It is a divine pattern, and the one who already alerted us to this reality was Billy Graham himself, one of the greatest preachers of the century. He said that before God uses a man mightily, he allows that man to be broken deeply. And that is exactly what we are reflecting on today, the invisible price of a true calling. But after all, why do the chosen seem so lonely? And why are so many of them broken before being elevated? The answer lies in the process. God does not send someone without first preparing them. And this preparation, my friends, rarely comes with comfort. It comes with deep cuts, difficult separations, and silent nights where only the voice of God echoes. Whoever is chosen is set apart. And whoever is set apart is transformed in secret, exactly as Billy Graham taught when he spoke about the desert being the true place of intimacy with God. There is something that few understand about being chosen. When God calls someone to something greater than themselves, he also separates them from what is common. This generates discomfort. While everyone celebrates the crowds, the chosen one is led to the desert. The feeling of displacement grows. You are in the midst of many, but you feel alone. You are surrounded by voices, but none of them understand the cry of your spirit. Make no mistake, the call of God is not an invitation to the stage. It is a call to the altar. And the altar demands sacrifice. When you try to explain your vision to someone who has not been called, they look at you as if you were speaking a foreign language. You invite them to the path, but they do not accept the invitation. It is at this point that many give up, thinking they are wrong. But they are not. They are simply living the pattern of the chosen. Billy Graham never hid that the greatest moments of spiritual battle did not happen under the spotlights, but behind the scenes. In tears, in prayer, in nights of silence. Look at the history of Moses. Raised as a prince, but never truly belonging to that palace. Look at Joseph, rejected by his own brothers and sold as a slave. And David, anointed as king at a young age, but sent back to the field. They all lived the same pain, the loneliness of separation. What seemed like abandonment was actually a preparation room. What many call abandonment, God calls alignment. The loneliness of the chosen is not a mistake. It is a sign that there is a treatment happening behind the scenes. God is molding something in you that cannot be molded in the midst of the agitation. That is why he takes you out of the crowd, closes doors, and silences voices, so that you learn to hear only one, his. But does God really need to break someone to use them? Wouldn't there be another way? A less painful one? Hold on to those questions, because the answers will reveal themselves as we continue. Rejection is a slow poison. You believe you will be supported, applauded, accompanied. But instead you experience closed doors and looks of distrust. The pain is not only in the words spoken, but in the absence of the words expected. You ask yourself, did God make a mistake? Am I really on the right path? And that is when the enemy tries to plant doubt, fear, and discouragement. Billy Graham taught that the greatest attacks of the devil do not come when you are far from God, but when you are about to take the next step towards your purpose. And understand this: rejection is not a punishment, it is a protection. When God allows doors to close, it is because there is something in them that does not fit your destiny. When He removes people, it is because they are not part of the next season. Joseph needed to be rejected by his brothers to be led to the palace. If they had accepted him, he would never have left the pit and would never have entered Egypt. The greatest danger for the chosen is not hatred. It is the need to be accepted. When you begin to negotiate your anointing for applause, you are losing the essence of the calling. God did not call you to please, He called you to lead. And leadership requires courage to walk alone. It requires firmness to withstand criticism and obedience to follow even without understanding. Jesus Himself was rejected, and not by enemies, but by those He came to save. Those who were closest were the ones who hurt Him the most. Yet He did not back down. He did not give up, because He knew the cross came before the resurrection. Rejection precedes exaltation. Before elevation comes brokenness. God never promotes someone who has not gone through the fire, and fire does not destroy. It refines. It removes what is not gold. Dreams, projects, people. Everything that is not part of the eternal purpose is removed in this process. Oil only flows after the olive is crushed. In the desert, we learn to depend on God and not on circumstances. In silence, we learn to discern His voice. And in the absence of applause, we learn that the value of the calling is not in the recognition of men, but in faithfulness to the Father. Whoever does not learn this in secret crumbles when they reach exposure. How many times have you tried to take people with you to a place where God called you to go alone? How many times have you delayed your process just because you wanted to be understood? The answer lies in what God is building. He is forging resilience, maturity, discernment. He is shaping your identity so that when the time of manifestation comes, you do not get lost in success. The same God who calls you also protects you from what would make you deviate from your destiny. Now let's go to the questions we left behind. Does God really need to break us to use us? Yes, because only brokenness reveals what is truly within us. Because arrogance cannot bear the glory of God. And wouldn't there be another way? There would be, but none that produce eternal fruits like this one. Billy Graham said that the Christian life is not easy, but it is full of purpose. Therefore, if you are in the midst of the process, do not give up. If you feel that everything is falling apart, know that God is rebuilding you in a way that no one will be able to tear down later. Do not chase after doors that have closed. Do not beg for acceptance. Trust the potter who is shaping you. When the time comes, everything will make sense. You will see that rejection was deliverance, that loneliness was consecration, that silence was direction. You will realize that God was not pushing you away. He was pulling you closer to Himself. And everything He does is with purpose. If this message spoke to you, do not leave without leaving your comment below. Share this video with someone who is going through the process and needs to know that they are not alone. And if you want to continue receiving studies based on powerful sermons by Billy Graham and other men of God who marked generations, subscribe to the channel now and activate the notification bell. Here, you are edified with truth, direction, and the living word. Your spiritual journey is just beginning, and here you will never walk alone.